DCM works. Artisanal coffee is basically just coffee.
It was probably a song that reminded me of it, or I'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Writing is definitely an isolating thing.
From an outside perspective, that's weird as
It makes
fuck.
us look really mental.
But that is
because of what it kind of said about art.
I had fun in bits. There were fun bits.
we went and bought a value pack of straps.
Oh my god, we did. There is a big lesson here to learn about storytelling. Hey guys, welcome back to the Art for Artists podcast, official podcast of Digital and Creative Media Works. My name is David, DCM Creative Director Lee Wright, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Ben.
That's me.
You're the Ben, and
Yep.
you're here.
I'm the one.
Today, Ben, we're talking about the storytelling of the Fantastic Beasts. Where are they? They're in the case, probably.
Fantastic Beasts. Where do you find
Where do
them?
you find them? I don't know.
Let's find out.
Where are they? They're probably in the case, and no non-spoilers, but they were probably in the case, and that's good. Yeah. So we both saw the Harry Potter film
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
not-
Sometime.
So yeah,
At
not
some point.
not together, but
No.
we
saw it separately.
yeah. Well, because
In
we
our
were gonna
separate ways.
see it, and then you were like, "Well, I'm seeing it already," and then I was
Yeah.
gonna see it. Actually, I have a fun story about my cinema experience.
Sure.
So I was gonna see it on last Saturday night.
Yeah.
With you, but you were like, I'm already bloody seen it, mate. And I was like, nah, no chop.
Yeah.
So then I had a date that I was going to Saturday night. So I was like, well, I can't go see Harry Potter Saturday night.
No.
So I was like, I'll go see Harry Potter Saturday during the day.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, which I've never really done. So I went.
No.
So I went at like 11 a.m. by myself. And here's the thing: I'm turning into.
That's an experience.
I
Yeah.
actually really don't mind going to see films by myself because you could just fucking veg. Like,
Yeah.
But what
you
I did was,
just-
I'm turning into such an old woman. I was like, I don't want to go there and spend like $20 at the candy bar.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I packed. Now I'm staying at my brother's place, who was a
Packed a
1-year-old.
sandwich?
Well, no, not a sandwich, but I needed like an esky, but none would fit in my bag. So I had like his Thomas the Tank Engine, like
Oh my
lunch
God.
esky or whatever.
That's amazing.
And so in that I had like a it's like a plate ice pack, so it's like
Yeah.
flat or whatever. I had a can of Pepsi, 2 cans of beer, a block of chocolate, and a bag of M&Ms.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I went in, and I also had a bottle of water as well.
Yeah.
And so I went in, and like an old woman, sat down and slowly unpacked myself, and like
That's so funny.
Just
Were
had-
you the only one in the cinema?
there was like there was only 4 people who booked online. Because I used like the press thing to get my discount or whatever. So then so there was 4 people that had booked online. When I got there, there was only about 2 people in the cinema, and by the time that it was on, there was about 10.
Wow.
But what they'd done is what they always do, which is they kind of clumped us in the middle.
Yeah.
So there
People
was
just kind of.
there was like a middle-aged man and his kid to our right, but then down the very front, like I'm talking like the front row,
Yeah.
was a dude in a suit with a tie on.
That's so weird. What was he doing there?
I don't know.
That's so odd.
And like
Such a weird place to
bizarre.
sit as well.
Yeah, like dead front, like as far
Maybe
up
he's
the
just
front.
like an alien.
as far up the front, like
And
dead center.
That was like his blending in clothes.
I
Was
just was
just
like,
suit
what
and
the
the tie.
fuck?
And he decided to partake in some
he
human.
would have been like
human
like
movie.
mid-30s maybe, like
God, that's so weird.
like really like clean looking, like really nice suit.
Yeah.
Like I know suits, and it was like an
That's so
expensive suit
confusing.
or whatever. It's like what the
I
fuck?
think you saw an alien, dude.
Yeah, so I had like a real good experience.
Oh, that's good.
With the film, and like just going to the cinema, and it was like they had the air conditioner on blast, so I was just straight like the whole
Yeah.
time. I was like, this is great, but I did have to pee halfway through, which I've
Oh,
never get that in cinemas.
That would be an issue.
But so I went to pee.
yeah,
Like,
what did you miss? 'Cause
I don't
didn't
know.
miss anything.
I went to pee like I used the app. I have the app where it's like
Oh
when you
yeah,
pee or
when's the
whatever.
best time to pee? I love that.
So I went when it told me, and I missed
Yeah.
nothing. I missed like an interim scene.
You probably just missed them faffing around with
Yeah,
some animals.
they were
or
just
some
faffing a bit or
shit.
whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
But so like as always, when we see something that's recent, what we'll do is we'll do non-spoilers and then spoilers.
Yeah,
So what did you think of it? Because we kind of
I-
avoided talking about it.
yeah. I enjoyed it. I mean, I've never been a Harry Potter fan.
don't
I
think
haven't
either
read the
of-
books. Up until recently, like I'd seen like 3 of the films in a weird order.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I think the first Harry Potter film I saw was like Goblet of Fire,
Oh.
and then I saw like the first one, and then I saw like the second and third one,
Interesting.
and I haven't seen any of the new ones. So I was going and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck to expect.
Well, do you know
but like going off the trailer, and like what had been like shown. Like I liked the idea of it. Like I thought it looked really cool.
I thought what was cool is that even as because like obviously I'm so hipster with Harry Potter because like my mum read them to me before they were like a thing anywhere else except England or whatever. So like I was in on the ground floor with everything with Harry Potter or whatever.
So you would know that you'd know the original.
Yeah, I know them all back to
Fantastic
front.
Beasts
Like I've read all
book
the
as well.
But the thing is that I had no idea what this film was going to be because the original the Fantastic Beasts book is just it's literally a textbook.
It's the book that he writes after this film.
And so it's just
Spoiler
a textbook.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so,
I skimmed through the book afterwards, and yeah, it was like, oh,
but so what's cool
it
is
makes
that,
a lot of cool sense.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that is that going in, I had no idea what this film was going to be. Like, I didn't know what genre it was. Like, that was the big thing. I was like, is it going to be like a coming of age? Is it going to be like a detective story? Like, I had no idea. And so the whole time, I was just like super into it because I had no idea what I was
I kind of knew it was just going to be just a general action thing, and that's what it was.
It turned out to be not a lot of much, but it was kind of structurally similar to like a thriller detective
I think
story.
I think the film as a whole was like because this is the first of a trilogy. I think five. Yeah, I keep forgetting it's 5.
Every time I do that, someone's like, "Oh."
For a while it was 3, wasn't it? It was going to be a trilogy, or was it?
The rumor was 3, and then when they announced it, they were like, "It's 5. We fucking got you good."
Yeah, so yeah, I'm still in the world where it's 3.
Yeah.
The good timeline.
Yeah,
me, 5.
We're the dark timeline.
And I,
timeline.
I think they do it differently to how they did the Harry Potter films. Like the structure of the film itself is very different.
I'll say this:
like you look at this film and you compare it to like the first Harry Potter film, and they're completely different structurally.
Oh, well, they're totally because I think
a big part of it is because with the books, they by the time they were doing the first film, they'd already had like 3 books or so. I think.
I think the biggest strength of this, if you've never seen, if you don't know what this film's about, and you're like, should I go see it? I don't know. What I would say is like it's the kind of film where you go in and it's just a fun time the whole time.
It's honestly a better introduction to the Harry Potter universe than the Harry Potter films.
And I was trying to work out why yesterday, and I know why.
Why?
I've worked it out. It's because
I think I have a reason why I think.
I think it's because they never like belay you with too much explanation of anything.
Yeah.
Like every Harry Potter film tries to explain something that was inconsistent in the previous one.
Yeah.
Same with the books because spoilers, J.K. Rowling is not a great at what she does. She's really good at telling stories, but she's real bad at world building. And so one of the biggest problems she had is that she had to keep backpedaling.
Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, in the first one, someone this, this person is an umbrella, it's magic. Like how do I, like this whole process. And eventually she got it to a point where it was like serviceable. And then she did the whole Pottermore thing where she kind of ruined her work by being like, but also this, and also this, and also this. And in doing so, kept creating
What house did you get in Pottermore?
Sorry?
What house did you get in Pottermore?
I didn't even touch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I got forced to do the house quiz, and I got Gryffindor. So, I was literally going like, I'm gonna get Slytherin. Like,
I've done tests
I've got to get Slytherin.
I straight up get Slytherin.
Yeah, but they gave me Gryffindor. I think they don't like to give out Slytherin because they're literally the bad guys.
Yeah, which is I'm fine with.
So they gave me Gryffindor.
But like to the point where it's like my concern was that. And have you read The Cursed Child, the play?
No.
Fuck, it's bad.
Yeah, that's why I'm not.
Like it's
that's why I'm not going.
It is unconscionably terrible. It reads like someone who is writing Harry Potter fanfiction, but who hasn't read the original series.
Oh, that's good.
Like it's just wow, it's bad.
I think why I think it's a good introduction to the Harry Potter universe is partly just because of the context of it. Because in Harry Potter, they're in a school, so you learn the magic, like you learn how the system of magic works. So you learn how magic in this universe works the same way that Harry does. Because Harry is obviously
really
which is really slow, and it's with teachers, and they teach you, they just teach you weird things where it's just like, today we're doing Wingardium Leviosa, and you're like, but why? Why is that? And then it's like, it's important for that film only, and like all that shit. But I think
but that's just bad writing.
Yeah. Well, I think why this film is really good introduction, because it's not like, oh, in this film, they learnt how Wingardium Leviosa works, so they're going to use it the entire film.
No.
It was just a world where it's just like,
Everyone has magic.
Wizards.
Yeah, wizards have
and
this.
things they will just do things,
Oh.
and you're like, how does that work? And it's just like
No,
wizards.
they're like, it does. And there
It
was
just
some shit
works.
in this, and you know what? There was never one point where I was like, well, how does that spell work?
Yeah,
And
it
because
just,
and here's why. And it's because we've talked about this so many times in this podcast, but like it was written in a way that you're not invited to look at the walls of the world,
yeah,
right? Because they're so invisible that you're never like, well, if that spell does this, why can't this spell do that?
Yeah.
You never have that. Whereas in the Harry Potter books, because she kept trying to over-explain stuff that she'd previously done, you were always like, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause
you
everything-
said in the like you kind of interrogate it. Whereas with this one, it was just like, bam, he throws out a spell, and he does another spell, and then he's spelling
yeah.
over there,
They're just like zwappy here
and
and
it's
there.
just fucking cool shit happening the whole time.
Yeah, and
And fuck, he had some cool beasts or whatever. We'll talk about it in spoilers, but he had some bloody cool beasts, mate. Like, holy damn.
and even though they did have, they would just throw out spells. They would just do things that you're like, yeah, sure, like whatever, wizards. Like they don't have an incantation or whatever for the spell they're doing. They just do a thing. They just flip
Well,
a
that's-
wand and the thing happens.
what's
You're like,
cool-
sure, whatever.
What's cool now
But they
is that-
still had callbacks to things in like Harry
Yeah.
Potter. Like they would occasionally do spells that you're like, oh, it's that one. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, great, it's that
But they
spell.
wouldn't dwell on it. Be like, this spell does this. Don't you remember this from the
Yeah,
original
and they
film?
don't wank themselves off when they do it.
Yeah.
There was a necklace in there. This isn't a massive spoil. There's a necklace that you see for like half a second. It's the Deathly Hallows necklace.
Yeah. And you're
Whatever.
like, oh.
And you're like, oh, it's from the original ones.
Yeah.
But they don't wank on it where they're like, it's the thing from the other thing,
Yeah, like
guys."
he's literally just like,
It's
take
literally like
this.
half a frame.
yeah, and you're like, oh.
You're like, cool. It's a
Cool,
thing.
okay.
I will say this as well before we get into spoilers. I didn't hate Eddie Redmayne in this as much as I wanted to.
He's
the main character.
Lead.
Newt.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to be playing the like the awkward nerd trope.
I mean, he's just Doctor Who.
Yeah, like
He's just-
exactly.
He's like the way he
I
dresses.
didn't realize that was the character that he was, but like having watched the film, it's like, yeah, it kind of fits.
It works, and
Because
he-
it means
he's-
that they can do the awkward nerd girl character.
But he's
You're
also-
like, yeah, that's fair. Like,
but neither
whatever.
of them are like annoyingly their stereotype.
Yeah,
Like
no.
he, when he's like talking to other wizards and stuff, he's not a complete ditz all
yeah,
the
he's
time.
he's not a complete fucking.
He just does stuff like he doesn't make eye contact the whole time, and like he's got like foppish
and he
hair.
just
and
has a. He just really likes animals.
he really likes animals.
Yeah.
And like the other
He's
lead,
just one of those weird kids that really likes animals. You're like, yeah, sure.
what was the girl, the lead female?
I
cannot
was
remember
gonna.
her name.
I need to pull up the cast list.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
please
be
do,
horrible
'cause I can't
this
remember her
entire
name.
time. Yeah,
But I thought she did a spectacular job at being competent, but not like ridiculous.
I thought
and
her
nerdy.
introduction was really well handled because they sort of, the film starts and she's like snooping around. She's like, oh, this is obviously like another lead character.
She's like,
who's
"Something's up."
Yeah. She's like investigating. Let me just Google Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, find it on the list.
He was like, yeah, she's obviously like being the Snoopy. She's probably gonna like, pick him up, catch him out, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then she like catches him, and she's just like, I'm
They have a bit
taking
of a
you in,
joke,
blah blah blah,
whatever.
and they do a bit of it. But then like, you slowly realize that like, oh, she's not actually like hugely important.
She's
like
not.
in
She's
the
not. Like, she's not the person you think.
yeah, so and like she's going through all these levels. She's like, "Shut up! I gotta." She's just like, "I just need to take this guy in," like as if it's gonna like fix her
Yeah, fix her career.
like
or
fix
whatever.
her career
I
and
thought
stuff.
She reminded me of like she was sort of the cop, who she was like the fallen from grace cop or whatever.
Yeah,
But like I thought she did a spectacular job acting wise. So I think if you haven't seen it, it's worth. I really do think it's worth seeing, even if you don't love Harry Potter. I think it's just a good action film, and it is a great setup for a much bigger world.
Catherine Waterson, I believe.
Is that the actress or the character?
It's the actress.
What's the character?
Her name's Tina.
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 Yeah, Tina. And then the other one is Goldie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goldie. Man, this cast list is like
What was the bloke's name? The larger bloke, the Muggle friend.
the Muggle friend.
Yeah.
Uh,
The large bloke.
this cast list is like really badly.
Is it
ordered.
like pretty badly laid out or whatever?
It was laid out by like how much they got paid.
Oh, geez.
So it's all of the
it's all the
so it's all of
famous
the
people.
famous non-important characters.
Mostly Eddie
for us.
Redmayne at the top.
God, yeah, exactly.
Fucking-
Where the fuck is he?
I don't know.
Oh my god, he's like
Is he buried in the list?
he's just not, he's somewhere. His name's like Jacob or something.
Yeah, Jacob something. Mackenzie.
Yeah.
McKenzie.
Yeah, something like that.
He was fun and good. And I
the
thought he
fucking
was great.
customs officers come before
Wow, that's
like
tough.
graves even.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Alright,
because it's my
Before,
top.
before,
Anyway,
before we get into spoilers, how fucking good is Graves? Like, the actor who played Graves fucking pulled that character off so well.
Like, I love that guy.
Holy
He's,
crap.
What else is he in?
When we get into spoilers, I need to talk about something else about that I hated, but
Sure.
fuck, he was good. Like,
Yeah.
as a villain who wasn't really a
Colin
villain.
Farrell. Colin Farrell.
Really?
Yes, that's
Oh,
Colin
wow.
Farrell. Did you not?
No, I didn't. Tweet.
That's Colin.
Fuck, he's
Colin
good.
Farrell. Yeah.
I didn't notice.
He's in some other stuff.
I know who he is.
I don't know what, but I know he's
I know
in
who
some
Colin
other
Farrell
stuff.
is. I just didn't know
Yeah.
it was him. Fuck, he was so good.
Yeah, I really liked him.
I'm so disappointed. Well, we can't talk. That's spoilers, but.
Yeah, I am very disappointed as well.
Alright, let's just go into spoilers because I want to talk about that to start.
Oh,
so if you
for
haven't seen
fuck's
it,
sake.
if you haven't seen it, stop listening now. Why Graves was so good
Oh, and then they ruined it.
by making him fucking Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Fucking
You
god.
know what the best part is? Johnny Depp isn't credited. Johnny Depp's not credited, so no one knew. And he just comes out of nowhere. I think there was an audible groan in the audience when Johnny Depp. People were just like, "Are you fucking serious?"
I think it wouldn't have been a big as big of an issue if Graves hadn't been such a well constructed and well
just like
acted
the best
villain.
character ever.
Like talk about a complex villain with like genuine, understandable motivation.
That's
Holy fuck!
the only
Like,
thing is that like,
wow.
even if Graves comes, even if they like find the real Graves,
He's not gonna be the same.
he's not gonna be the same. It's just like you can't
He's gonna be a
fix
good
this
guy.
problem you
It's
just
so,
caused.
It's so
You ruined it with Johnny Depp and the stupid white hair. I think like
you know what they did? They killed Darth Maul in the first film. That's what they just did. They killed their Darth Maul in the first
Yeah,
film.
they killed,
chopped him in half and they threw him down a fucking well.
Yeah.
They killed the best part of their 5 quadrology or whatever the fuck. It's
yeah,
gonna
like
be.
he could have been like they could have done the thing where
Oh,
he like could never, he could have been like that. What is like the trope, like that the cop that knows that this person is doing something wrong but can't catch them out. So they're always on their tail and they're
Yeah.
always just like pestering them because they're just waiting for them to fuck up so they can take them in.
But then when some bad shit really does go down, they're on the same.
They're
team.
on the same side, yeah.
Fuck,
It's
he
like
would've
they
been
could have
good.
done that, but
And
no,
'cause he's
this
so
is
cool.
Johnny Depp.
Fuck, I love his coat robe thing that he had like a combined coat robe that was with like white trim and
I
shit.
see this
Fuck.
this thing that a friend of mine
Oh, good.
noticed is that at the start of the film,
Yeah.
there's when it's going through all of the like paperclip, the like newspaper things. There's like a fade from like there's like a shot of like a newspaper clipping where it's the back of it's like Gilgamesh or some shit, whatever his name. It's not Gilgamesh. That's a
Grindelwald.
Gringle.
You fucking
Gilgamesh.
idiot. I was letting you flail
The
for a
Battle of-
minute.
Yeah, Grindelwald. there's-
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh.
Grindel Figgle Boom Boom.
Yeah. So wait, what's his name?
Grindelwald.
Fuck.
Grindel.
Mr. G.
Grindel.
Grindelwald.
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 WALD.
Okay, Grindelwald. There's like a shot where it's like the back of his head, and then
Yes.
it like fades, and it's the back of
Yes.
Graves'
I
head,
thought that was
and you're like,
yeah.
all right.
Which again, and I'll say this.
bit ham-fisted.
I'll say this, Graves. What a minty haircut. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah, like
Holy
his
shit.
his whole out.
Everything about him. I was like, could you be more dapper, sir?
I think everything about like every character, even Jacob, who was meant to just be like a bumbling fool,
Fuck,
was
he-
actually a cool guy.
Dapper as fuck. Everyone in
Yeah.
this film is so dapper and
I think
glitzy.
I think that's like the best part of the film for me was the setting, because it's literally just like Harry Potter but
But
set
it's-
in the 20s.
But it's like a little bit steampunk.
yeah, like set in
Also, like, what are they called? Wand holsters? Fuck, that's cool. Everyone has like a fucking wand holster in America because it's like
Yeah.
guns.
because they're guns.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was like,
Can-
I was like, I didn't notice it till halfway through, but I was like, oh, that's such a nice
Yeah.
touch.
like it's such a even just the
And they have capital punishment in America. But
Yeah.
they don't in England.
and they call
like,
call them different things. Like they
Oh,
don't call them silly names
no-mages.
like muggles. They
Yeah.
call them no mages.
like fuck. It's so
Oh.
much like clever world building.
yeah,
I will say this. I have one major complaint that bugged me the whole time, which is the inside of his case when you go into that like pocket dimension or whatever.
yeah,
Really badly designed space. Not by him. I mean, like, because I get how it came to, but like the way that they introduce you to that space is incredibly like just so poorly handled.
how so?
Well, what you've got is you come down from the case from the stairs in his little shack.
Yeah.
And then you've got the world that is like a fan around it.
Yeah,
But at no point do you get an establishing shot of that's what's happening. You just kind of bumble through room to room to room following the larger bloke, Jacob.
yeah. You have no real.
And it's I get it. They're trying to be like he's as confused and elated as you are or whatever. But the end
doesn't
result after
work,
5 minutes
though.
is that you're just annoyed that you don't know what the space
yeah,
looks like.
that's just annoyed.
It's not until he goes
Annoying,
to touch
annoying.
the Obscura and then they go back towards the shack, but you actually get a slightly helicopter shot where you're like, oh, it's
like
just
in the
rooms
center.
around.
Yeah.
Which, just open with that. Like, it's not... Don't,
Yeah, just
like,
open. Yeah, have them like come
why
into
you-
the shed
yeah.
and then open.
I
with
don't
that
understand why they were so
establishing
coy
shot.
with that. Like, it just made it irritating to try and track
Yeah,
what was happening.
I think. Yeah, one part that bugged me with the animals was that they kind of relied too much on CG when having him like interact with the beasts. And
Yeah.
it just doesn't look good. Like it, no, you noticed all of it. Like,
There's a moment when you, like, toward the end, where you should have been really emotional, where he's, like, saying goodbye to the big bird thing.
you just pulls
But
it
it
out
just
because his
looks-
hands like floating.
But you can tell that Eddie Redmayne is, like, doing this toward, like, a floating green tennis ball.
Well, even
Like, you can kinda
in
tell.
parts of it where like you can tell that they were just like they just told the actors to just act and do things, and then they're like, we'll animate the animals.
We'll work it
into
out
you."
later. Don't
Yeah,
worry
like we'll
about it.
animate the animal. Like when you like move your head to the side or whatever, or look away, we'll animate the animals into it. Don't worry. And it just made all the interactions seem just super fake.
Yeah, a
and
lot of
just
them felt
like,
really-
really bad.
Clunky. I did like... I'll say this. Anytime that Eddie Redmayne threw out a spell, anytime that Newt was, like, doing spells or he was using his animals, he had a real, like... All of the characters in this had their own kind of unique style. And that was something that they really focused on in the later Harry Potter films, is, like, different characters will cast spells in different ways.
Yeah.
So, like, Harry is very much like, bang, bang, bang. And then, like, Ron is much more, like, kind of like
flicking,
slings spells. And then Hermione is, like, a balance between both, where she has, like, the perfect
She
posture
like
or whatever.
pops spells at people. She's
Well, she
like,
kind of has, like, perfect...
yeah, she's like
um,
the perfect one.
Whereas
yeah.
Ron is like this sloppy slinging, and then
Yeah.
Harry is like aggressive or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this film, I felt very much the same, where Newt was kind of reserved, but like he did these bursts of energy. Where
It's
he's
very
like,
British. It's
or whatever.
very
And he'd do
British.
these kind of quick, like he'd go from being like a kind of. I mean, he was basically Matt Smith from as the 11th. He was just Doctor. He was the Doctor.
just doctoring.
He was
Yeah.
the Doctor Who from the 11th Doctor. Like he was just Matt Smith.
Yeah.
From like his clothes to his hair to his bow tie to the way he behaved. He was just Matt Smith's Doctor, but a little less charismatic, which I fucking liked. I was like, good character choice.
Again, I found them surprisingly good.
I didn't hate him, which I just
I
don't like.
I
Eddie
was
Redmayne.
expecting to hate him. I was expecting to kind of hate the film in general.
I didn't. Here's the thing: like, I don't dislike Eddie Redmayne as a person. He just played the worst part of Les Mis. Like, he plays the worst character in Les
Yeah, he
Mis in
does.
Les Mis, which isn't his fault. It's just the character's bad. Like, so I didn't like him from that. And then going to this, I was like, can he really like support a whole film by himself? But the good
Turns
thing
out
is
he
that they don't make him. I think one of the strengths
Yeah,
of this
true,
film is
because
that
they bounce it off.
he doesn't have a ton of lines. Like, he doesn't say much.
Yeah, well, I think that works well because he
Yeah.
doesn't really say much as a character anyway. Like you pick up that
Because
idea
it makes
of-
sense. He doesn't
yeah.
need to.
And I think them pulling in basically having 4 main characters was really smart because it meant that they could balance. You know, they could.
It gave it a real Scooby Doo vibe.
Yeah, like really, you could argue that it was more Jacob's story. It was kind of both Jacob's and Newt's story.
Yeah.
In the sense that like you would have scenes from the perspective of Jacob, and you would have some from the perspective of Newt, and it would kind of bounce back and forth depending on what's interesting at the moment.
Or what perspective you needed to see it from.
Yeah,
But I
And-
don't think at any point they belayed or made it dumb from Jacob's perspective, where it was like, oh, how does bloody magic work or whatever. Like they never did. They never slowed it down.
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, like he's on the surface you're just like, oh, he's just a bumbling idiot, but they give him a lot of sort of respect
He has a lot
in his
like
writing.
no one treats. Actually, yeah, exactly. They don't treat
He
him
doesn't like
he's,
bumble around. He just sort of observes and then like thinks rationally.
He's just
and
out of
goes,
his element.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and he
he's
sort of
just-
understands. Yeah.
Actually, I hadn't really thought
And
about
it's
that.
kind of
but yeah.
why his ending is so much sadder
Oh
because
my
you're
God.
just like he,
Can we talk
like
about the
he
ending of
clearly
this
enjoyed
film?
himself
Can
so
we,
much.
Can we
and he
talk about
just-
like how they ended this and why I'm not
Oh,
okay with it?
God.
So here's.
I mean,
here's-
I was a little just like, wow.
I was-
Deus Ex Machina much.
I mean,
It's just
here's
like
there's a few. I have a few problems
such
with how
a
it ended.
solution.
So like, my first problem in general is that Grindelwald was Graves, and
yeah,
and
which pissed me off.
and for people at home who were like, yeah, but he's Grindelwald, he's like Wizard Hitler. It's like, yeah, but the problem
Yeah,
with
but-
doing it like that is that what you do is you take away any power that the writers had to create this super complex, interesting character.
Yeah, they immediately turned a really cool character who throughout the whole film was really interesting
and had like super
and like shrouded in mystery.
interesting motivations
Yeah.
and deep,
and then turned
intrinsic-
him into Wizard Hitler.
Yeah. which
It's
is
just like one-dimensional. He's Wizard Hitler.
which again, it's like I get it. Grindelwald is Wizard Hitler. He does the World War II for the whatever. Like I get it. He has to be in this. It's that time period. I get it.
Yeah.
But do not patronize me by having the goal to create someone so complex and then just give me the middle finger at the end.
yeah.
Like it. And you know what? I guess it makes sense because it's got a setup for the later films.
Like even
Well,
even Harry Potter does it better with naked baby Voldemort. I mean, just do a naked baby
Or not even
Grindelwald.
like a naked baby Voldemort. When in the fourth one, when it turns out that the Mad-Eye Moody is actually David Tennant,
Yeah.
that's good because he's a fucking sniveling
Yeah, because
lunatic.
no one likes that
and it's like
character.
crazy, gross, creepy.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's
whatever.
He's that movie's fucking fill-in dark arts teacher, like they do with all
Which
the
is
films.
fine.
Just fine, because that's what you expect. But when you have
don't-
this film
fuck,
where
like,
you have this awesome character
What would've
who's
been-
like the leader of this big
Oh.
organization, and he's the coolest dude ever, and then you're like, no, actually, he's the cannon fodder. You're like, get fucked.
yeah, like now he's Johnny Depp actually.
Like they should have
And so okay, so I was already peeved.
honestly,
by that.
they could have made the president Grindelwald. Because for one, she gets a lot less.
She's a less of a
lines.
character.
Two, yeah, no one like
Oh fuck! Oh my god!
no
Oh,
one would
oh,
really
Ben.
care if
Oh,
if
could
she
you
turned
imagine
it out
if,
being Grindelwald.
if he's
'cause-
like on his knees or whatever, and she's like, "All right, well, we can't let you live, or whatever." And the other Auras are like, "What?" And he's like, "We've just got to do this now." And she like pulls out a wand, and she's about to cast like the
And then
Avada Kedavra curse.
yeah,
And then Newt fucking zips the wand out of her hand.
and
then-
he's like figured it out. Like that would be
Yeah,
so
and then he
much better.
fucking zaps her, and he's like, "You're bloody Grindelwald, mate." And then
Yeah.
old mate Graves busts out of his like chains, gets his wand. Also, no one did this in this film, which I'm really disappointed with. No one did the one from the sleeve thing that I love, which
What?
I'm sad about.
What the Assassin's Creed
yeah, well,
hidden
they
blade
did in the
technique?
later films, like
Ugh.
the English wizards developed this technique where you can have like I don't know how it works, but your wand is like in your breast pocket or whatever, and then
Right.
like zips up and like comes out your sleeve, and you're like fucking.
bloody Brits.
Oh,
Always-
it's fucking cool. But they have like gun holsters in this or whatever.
Yeah.
But like no one did that, and that was sad.
well, it's because they're
um,
it's because they're
Because
American.
it's in America.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, yes, I was disappointed that he was Grindelwald. And I was like, all right. But then, and then it's like, okay, well, I've got this poultice that is like, it's like the Obliviate spell, but it's good.
yeah, that
And
was.
then he gives it to the thing, to the big
And it
bird, and
goes
he's like,
up and-
take it up into the sky and do it like that. And then
Make
the
it
question
rain.
becomes, why every time that a city gets exposed to magic, don't they do that?
Yeah, like why?
Like that,
why
it's,
isn't
that's
that?
that's the problem with Deus
yeah.
Ex is it's like, well, why don't they do that fucking every time?
Yeah,
Why would Muggles ever need to know about wizards if that's possible?
yeah. And
But
like,
then I
if it
was, like-
conveniently doesn't affect them, it's just like, why didn't you just?
Well, I think it does. I just think they didn't go outside. That's
Does it?
why they didn't go into the. Oh no, because she gets wet at the end.
Yeah, no, I think that
But
there
it
is. I think
must.
there is a line where it's just like, this will only affect Muggles. I think there.
must have missed
I
that,
think
yeah.
there's just a throwaway
Throwaway.
line where it's just like it'll only affect Muggles.
I
So
think
it's like if that's the case, why don't they harvest this stuff and literally like terraform the Earth so it always rains this stuff? Like if you're so focused on like
Yeah,
it's-
it does kind of break the world a bit, but I think what they'll do, I think really the way they'll get around it is that something else will happen in the future, and they'll be like, Newt, why don't you just use the bloody big thing? And he's like,
well, we can't.
he's
'cause
like, well,
these
there was,
reasons.
he's like, well, there were one of them.
Yeah.
You dipshits. Like,
Right? Yeah.
you know,
okay.
like it's probably gonna be like,
Yeah.
well, there's only like 4 of them in the world, and
And
that one
that
lives
was
in
one of them.
Arizona, and it's gone for good
Yeah.
now. So
Well, I
Why?
think I like as much as I hated that bit, the setup for having Jacob's sort of end of the story, I think is worth it because the setup for that is just heart wrenching. You're just like no, just
and
like
they keep delaying it. Too.
Yeah,
and you're like
you're
maybe
just
he's
like,
not gonna go.
"Ugh."
I thought maybe that Newt was gonna be like, just stay in my case, take care of the animals, work with.
I was thinking they
Yeah.
were gonna pull like it was for me. I was just like, oh, they could just like do the magic umbrella because they showed the wand umbrella like earlier in the film, and I was like, it's rain. I was just like, use the wand umbrella, you know, that thing that you have and showed us. And when she started to use the wand umbrella, I'm like, oh, here we go. Like he's gonna be fine. And you're like, oh wait, no, he's
like,
he's
no,
totally
she's
lost
just saying
it.
goodbye. Fuck.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
is-
but then the fucking it wasn't an after credit scene. It was just the end of the film where he has the
Oh, the bakery.
Yeah, I think that was like such an after credit scene, but I think it was important to have.
Well, I think because what it showed, and we've seen this before in some of the Harry Potter stuff.
Well, it
is that,
showed
like,
because
it shows that it doesn't like.
doesn't work for like you can get back memories from Obliviate. This is my understanding from what I've told from what I've been told from people who are like super Harry Potter buffs. Obliviate, you can like bring back the memories with a strong enough trigger.
Yeah.
Which is like possibly why she kissed him, 'Cause it's just like,
If she can kiss him again, that's a
well, yeah, well, it means that, like, if she sees him again, like, he might realize, like, oh, yeah, it's the woman I kissed. It's really clever giving her the mind reading stuff, not like just for the ending, just because of how smart it is to, like, have her just stand there and then smile. You're just like, you bitch, you're not gonna tell us anything, are you?
Yeah, right. I thought
Like,
that was
God
very
damn
clever.
it.
It was a very clever way
Yeah.
to end it. Yeah, I will say that this reminded me of what happens when you can get a studio who's not interfering on board with the project and I know it was technically written by J.K., but this shows a sophistication
Was the
she has never demonstrated.
screenplay written by
I don't
her?
think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I haven't looked it up, but I don't think so.
Because I think it was just,
I know that she wrote the story, but I think that
she wrote, like, the textbook. Oh, the story?
No, I mean
or
the actual story for this
Oh,
film.
okay.
Because in the credits, the first thing, it's written by J.K. Rowling.
Right.
It's directed by David Yates, written by J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
So I think she wrote the script, but I don't know if she did the actual screenplay stuff.
Yeah.
Because this film shows a sophistication that I've only seen in J.K.'s work that outside of Harry Potter. So in her detective story, that is like so mature and interesting. This reflects that kind of maturity, except the ending, which is a Harry Potter ending. Because it's for kids. And you know
Yeah.
what? That's what it is.
It's a
You know
very
what?
Harry Potter ending.
And this was a really dark film.
Yeah.
That's why I thought the ending was weird. It's like, if this was a kid's film and you put the ending in because it's a kid's film, it's so dark that is this going to be something that kids are going to associate with?
I think
Like,
they're...
the main villain is a kid who gets like abused for years.
Yeah.
Who then, because he's a wizard, he becomes like repeatedly abused, and he's
Becomes like a
dark
fucking
magic.
wraith. Yeah.
Well, because he can't use his magic, it bottles
Yeah.
up and becomes this like dark force. Like, that's dark as shit.
Mm.
That's not like, oh, here's the wizard Voldemort who's like
The
ultimate
wizard
evil.
tri-wizard
This is
cup.
just like
Yeah.
this is just a kid who gets beaten and like is
Yeah.
fighting back to try and save himself.
Well, I think they're definitely still following their audience. They're still doing the thing where it's just like, Harry Potter fans are now in their 20s and
Yeah,
30s.
but don't fuck us on the ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do get
It's
that.
just disappointing. I don't know. Like,
I preferred the ending from the sense that, like, as a standalone, like, you can just watch this as a standalone film.
and it does work.
And I think it will go down as being, like, one of, like, if someone's just like, in like 20 years or whatever, if I don't know, if films still exist.
When you mean when they reboot Harry Potter?
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah.
Presumably.
Or if someone's just like, I haven't ever seen anything from Harry Potter and I'm like 30 years old, what should I watch? People will be like, watch the first Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Because it's a good standalone story to introduce you to the world and how magic generally works without being like
It doesn't beat you over the head with
exposition
it.
dumping you with everything.
Yeah. It's got
And
cool
then if you like
characters.
it, you can go back and actually, follow the Harry Potter story. And that's why I was just like, I was like, yeah, it's only 3 films. It's okay. They won't ruin it. But now it's 5. And it's just like,
Well, I don't think that they're all. I think that from what they've said,
Are they all...
they're not necessarily direct sequels, but they are the 5 films. They're doing 5 films, so 4 after this.
Yeah.
That are about Grindelwald's rise
Okay. So they may...
and the first Great Wizarding War kind of thing.
Right. So they may jump to different characters and things like
They've
that.
they've already cast young Dumbledore in the next film.
Well, I think that's good if they're doing kind of a almost like what they're doing with Star Wars with the side stories.
Yeah, well,
I think that would be pretty cool.
One of the things that I'm worried about is that so Grindelwald and Dumbledore were like
They're like friends,
they,
aren't they?
they were like in love at one point.
Yeah.
like they were together, like properly.
Yeah, it's like a weird...
because they're both like super gay for each other or whatever.
Yeah.
But now he's Wizard Hitler. It's like, how do you bring young Dumbledore into that? I don't know. It's just like
I reckon they might just flashback it.
I feel like that would be the only way to do it.
It's
That
really
I
the
would
only
hate.
way, because as soon as you have, like, as soon as you have young Dumbledore for like more than a flashback or like more than a film, you'd bring in so many issues where it's just like, shit, we have to like force this to sit properly
There is so
in
many
front of
so many consistency.
so
issues.
many like so much stuff about Dumbledore that already exists. It'd just be so hard.
It's tough.
Yeah,
But I think that's why this works, is because they don't deliberately try and force any continuity into it.
yeah. There's literally like the only continuity is like the best kind of continuity, where there's a book that tells you how all the monsters work. You're like, sweet,
There's a
that's
few-
super convenient.
There's a few really cool through lines that I thought were like really subtle, interesting hints that use the world building done in the Harry Potter films to like beautiful effect. So like the one example that I have is Newt during school was close to this girl whose name I forget, but she's a Lestrange, and Bellatrix Lestrange is one of, in the future, Voldemort's henchmen.
Yeah,
And so he's in love with Lestrange, and the implication there is that, well, he wasn't in love with her, but the implication there is they were at Hogwarts together. They never really fit in. They're both kind of weirdos or whatever. And she kind of went a bit
She went
crazy.
the Voldemort route.
Well, not necessarily that, but like she went a bit nuts because her whole family's nuts. Because
Yeah.
we know they're nuts because Bellatrix is nuts.
Yeah.
So she went a little bit nuts, and that was kind of what led to their falling out or whatever. But they never have to say that. It's just really well implied that this ended poorly because of this. Like I just thought
didn't
that
pick
was
up
so
on that.
nice.
Yeah, that went over my head because I'm not up to those films yet. The Harry Potter originals. But yeah, from the perspective of someone who like forgot who the Lestrange people were, it did seem like a bit of a weird addition.
I thought it was just like, even if you didn't know, I assumed that it would just be one of those things where
It was just like a
It
weird
shows-
backstory
it
where you're
shows
like,
a-
sure.
but it shows like a bit of depth to Newt as well. He's not
Yeah.
just an awkward kid. Like he's got some other shit going
Yeah,
on.
at least it's the kind of thing where like if they dwelled on it too long if they dwelled on it more, it would probably have made it seem weird.
Yes, but
Because
because
you'd
they
be like,
kept it
why are they focusing on this person? But they kind of,
Yeah.
and I think they do that with most of the references where they just kind of touch it and leave.
Yeah.
Like even with the reference to Dumbledore, they're just like, boop,
Yeah,
see ya.
it's kind of nice.
And the Deathly Hallow symbol as well. They just like pan across it and then leave, and the people who are paying attention at home are like, oh, okay,
Yeah, and I think that's really the way that it has to be done, unless you want it to be like super ham-fisted.
yeah.
And I think that I think they just did a good treatment of the world whilst also telling a good story, and that's sometimes incredibly difficult to
just
do.
a good film. They're
Yeah.
also like pretty good cinematography all around.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought that the beginning was a bit shit, like the opening, like just after the opening credits, the like newspapers and stuff. I was just like,
I was just like, oh,
the whole time I was like, oh, exposition, I've missed
Yeah.
you. Like, why did we need that?
it's like when they do like fucking like news television station.
But I kind
montages
of I get
before
why they
disaster
did
films.
it. I get why they did it because they were like, this is when this film is set. It's not Harry Potter times. It's before
Yeah.
that, and they just were like,
I think that's pretty important. Yeah.
which they'll do it at the start of Rogue One as well. I guarantee, because
Mm.
people will go in and be like, but why isn't Darth Vader fighting Luke Skywalker?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whereas Kylo Ren?
Exactly. Whereas they're like, they have to be like, this one they were like, guys, it's before,
Yeah.
before. And you're like,
Remember-
but what
yeah.
about Voldemort? They're like, it's before. And you're like, what about Voldemort? It's before.
Before.
Just chill. It's before.
Where's Dumbledore?
It's before. Like, they did that. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Fuck. So that did shit me. But yeah, all round, I was thoroughly impressed.
Mm.
Eddie Redmayne really did a good job.
Yeah, he pulled it through.
Loved his costume. It was awkward and dorky. And that coat is some nice shit.
Super thick.
Graves, fuck Graves. minty, perfect.
Best character in the film. Let's hope they just retcon him into him coming
you
back
know
and
what?
being the same character.
Give me like 10 prequels with Graves.
Yeah.
And in each one of them, he gets progressively older as the actor gets older, but I don't
Oh
care.
god.
I don't care. I'd still watch it. Yeah, look, I had a good time, and that's not something I would normally say about a Harry Potter film.
Yeah, I've
So-
never been huge into Harry Potter, and this has made me slightly more interested in Harry Potter.
Whatever JK did to make this, whatever she
to,
did,
to get this
keep
going,
doing
yeah,
it.
do more of that.
because whatever advice she's taking, whichever editor she's taking on, whichever screen advisor she's taking, because those people are doing
Pay
her a
them.
good service,
Yeah.
I think, and I'm excited to see more. So
Yeah.
So if you, it's
Yeah, this is a good film.
a good film.
This is a good watch, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was about to say the thing that I normally end with, but then I forgot what it was. But Ben, where can people find us?
YouTube,
You got them,
Facebook,
crushing it.
Twitter.
We're on the Facebook
Instagram.
where DCM Works. So we're not on Instagram. Don't tell them
Should
lies.
get an Instagram.
I don't know how. We're on DCM Works. We're DCM Works Social on Facebook. We are DCM_Works on Twitter. That's like pretty much it for this one.
Yeah.
We don't have a sponsor this week.
Oh.
But if you want to check us a buck, you go to patreon.com/DCMWorks. Throw us $1 if you want, or don't, whatever. It's cool. Yeah, I'm at DCM My Hit Pie.
I'm at Leather of Citrus.
Yeah, it was really lackluster ending, but we'll see you guys next week. There was probably a song that reminded me of it, or I'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Writing is definitely an isolating thing.
From an outside perspective, that's weird as
It makes
fuck.
us look really mental.
But that is because of what it kind of said about art.
I had fun in bits. There were fun bits.
We went and bought a value pack of straps.
Oh my god, we did. There's a big lesson here to learn about storytelling.